Get ready to make a casserole dish. Hi, Marie here. Welcome to Pottery Crafters. You found video number 18 in our Beginner Pottery Wheel project series. Today you'll learn how to throw, decorate, and glaze a casserole dish. And yes, you'll see the finished piece. If you like what you see, please like the video. And if you want to support me or see new videos, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button to get a notification whenever I upload a video. Before we get started, here's a list of tools and supplies I use to make the casserole dish, which will also be down below in the show notes, along with any other important information I may talk about throughout the video. The tools and supplies listed are only recommendations and items that I use on a daily basis. I'll be starting with the clay already centered, so if you're having any problems with centering your clay, you can check out the video up above. With that said, enjoy the video and make sure you stay to the end to see the finished piece. Let's get started. For this project I have 3.5 pounds of Amaco stoneware 46 buff clay. I'm starting with 2.5 pounds to make the dish. Press the clay down using the side of your right hand to form the size of the base. About 7 inches across is good. Don't apply too much pressure on the side with your anchor hand. You want the clay to be able to expand outward. Once you have your base size, pull the clay out of the center until you get the desired thickness on the bottom. Stop to check the thickness with your needle tool. I'm going to trim, so I'm leaving a good 1/2 inch of clay on the bottom. Moving your fingers back and forth smooths out the bottom and gets rid of the nub in the center. This also compresses the clay really well. Once the bottom is smooth and even, pull up the walls. Remember to leave extra clay on the rim to make the gallery. As you're slowly pulling up the walls, make sure the pressure of your fingers stay consistent to keep the thickness of the sides even throughout your piece. Once you get the desired height, it's time to use the extra clay on the rim to make the gallery. place your left thumb on the outside of the rim, your index finger on the top inside of the rim to define the gallery, and your middle finger on the inside below the rim. Use your right index and middle finger to help brace the outside of the rim. The clay is uneven on the inside ledge of the gallery. I'm pressing downward until the needle tool touches my middle finger and slowly move the wheel around until the extra clay comes off. Then smooth out the walls and the gallery. While removing the extra clay with the wooden modeling tool, be careful not to push the extra clay into the casserole dish. Removing the extra slip on the outside using a metal scraper. I'm making marks with my pinky finger where I want to decorate once the dish is leather hard. Before setting the dish aside, measure the gallery with calipers where the lid is going to rest. A ruler will do if you have no calipers. This must be done right away because the gallery shrinks as it dries and you will not get an accurate fit with your lid. Set the dish aside and grab a pound of Amaco Stoneware 46 buff clay. I happen to have one already centered. The lid is made the same way as the dish by pressing down to expand the base outward. Stop to check the width of your lid with your calipers from time to time. Uh-oh, air bubble. Poke the air bubble with your needle tool and carefully pinch the air out. Once you have the width of your lid, keep pulling the clay out of the center until you get the desired thickness on the bottom. Stop to check the thickness of your lid with your needle tool. Once the base is set, pull up the sides of the lid about an inch. Then smooth it out and compress the bottom and rim. Double check the width of your lid with your calipers or ruler to make sure you didn't push the clay in or out during the process of forming the lid. Remove the extra water with a sponge. Smooth out the rim with a small chamois and set aside. Once the lid is leather hard, I'm making an impression on the side of the lid with the small ribbon tool before taking it off the bat. set the lid aside and doing the same with the casserole dish. Once I've carved out the grooves, I'm getting rid of the extra clay on the sides. It's always better to have too much clay and remove it than not enough. Remove the dish from the vat before the clay gets too hard and set aside. The lid is too short for the Giffen grip, but I centered it nicely, so I'm making a few sausages and pressing them downward, being careful not to press them into the lid. This can mess up the shape of the lid. With the help of the ribbon tool, the loop tool, and the double-edged trim tool, I'm defining the foot and trimming the bottom, being careful to remove only a small amount of clay at a time so I don't trim too deep or gouge out a chunk of clay. After the dish and lid are trim, it's time to add the handles. With the help of my handheld clay extruder, I'm using the die with 2 grooves to match the grooves on the casserole dish. I'm cutting the lid handles 7 inches and the casserole dish handles 4.5 inches. When forming the handles, smooth out any cracks with water or slip. Use a ribbon tool to mark the handle, then score with the wire brush scoring tool. Apply slip with the detail brush and smooth the handle into the lid. Place your handles on the side of the dish and mark them. Measuring with your calipers or ruler will make sure you get the same width on both sides. Score with the wire brush and apply slip with the detail brush. Press on the handles and smooth out the clay. Dry the lid and dish separately because they may stick together in the drying process. Once they're bone dry, into my Scud kiln they go for a bisque fire at cone 04. After the bisque fire, wash with a damp sponge to ensure the glaze will bond nicely to the casserole dish. Apply a little wax resist on the foot of the dish and the rim of the lid to easily get off any unwanted glaze. After the casserole dish is dry, I'm pouring Amaco Indigo float into the dish and flipping it upside down to allow the extra glaze to flow out. Always mix your glaze well before applying and pour it through a strainer to catch any clumps of glaze or debris that may be lurking in your glaze. You'll want to leave it upside down for at least 10 minutes. Then doing the same with the inside and the side of the lid. Set the lid aside and brush a coat of indigo float on the outside of the dish only with the small hack brush. If you're having any problems with glazing, check out my article on 27 glazing tips for beginners. I left a link for you in the description below. Then glaze the bottom of the dish. This helps to prevent sweating and gives the dish a better seal. Glaze the top of the lid and let dry. Apply a second coat on the outside of the dish and top of the lid. After the second coat dries, I'm applying Amaco Seaweed. Because the seaweed is on the thinner side, I'm using the large Artist Soft fan brush. Then the smaller fan brush to get around and under the handles. And the same for the lid. Then applying a second coat of seaweed on the dish. Make sure you don't put too much glaze on the gallery or your lid won't fit properly. I'm only glazing 3/4 of the way down with the second coat on the outside because seaweed loves to run. And only putting a second coat of seaweed on the top of the lid. When the seaweed dries, I'm applying one more coat of Indigo float on the inside and outside of both the dish and the lid. Wipe off any glaze that may be on the bottom of the dish or the rim of the lid. Let dry, and into my scut kiln I place both the dish and lid separately for the final fire at cone 5. Here's the finished casserole dish. The colors blended beautifully together. I love the indigo and seaweed. They're always a nice combination. The handles turned out really nice, very sturdy, no cracking. The gallery turned out really good. The handle to the lid, very nice. I really like this casserole dish. What do you think? Feel free to post any questions, comments, or even ideas for future videos in the comments section below. Some of the best tips and feedback come from you. Also in the comments section are more show notes and pottery making info. I hope you've learned a thing or two to make your own casserole dish. You can check out my other videos from Pottery Crafters here. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notified when a new video comes out. See you in the next video.